Hello, greetings, welcome. Welcome to the introductory problem for Chapter 10. And I hope that you have looked at the chapter, read the chapter, listened to the introductory lecture so that some of these terms and ideas are familiar to you and that we now then begin to apply them to some chapter material. So our introductory problem is actually 3 exercises. And they're exercises 10, chapter 10, 12, 13, 14A. So they're all the A series. And 12 starts on page 545. And here's the situation that we have. Each of the following situations state whether the bond would sell for a premium or discount. So Addie issued $400,000 in bonds with a stated rate of 7%. So that's how much the bonds are going to pay at a time when the market rate of interest was 6%. So since her rate of interest is higher than anything else they can get in the market, they're going to be willing to pay more to get her bond. So her bond will sell at a premium. It'll be at the stated rate of interest is higher than the market rate of interest. And I have that showing for you right here. And then Rigsby issued $200,000 of bonds with a stated rate of 6 at the time when the market rate of interest for similar investments was 8. So since they could get 8 every place else and we're only willing to pay them 6, they're not going to give us the full amount of the bonds. They're going to charge us a discount. They're going to pay us less money because the stated rate in our bonds is less than the market rate of interest. Number 3, C. Sanders, Inc. issued callable bonds with a stated interest rate of 6%. The bonds were called at 102. At the time of the issue, the bond's interest rate was 7% for similar investments. So in this case, there's some information that we have to discern enough to know that we're not using it when we want to know whether the bond's sold at a premium or a discount. And so what happened in the callable part, the fact it was callable might have had something to do with the initial, but it's not what's going to drive the price. So they issued price, the stated price was 6% when the market for similar things was 7%. So the bond is going to yield less than all the other interest-bearing instruments. So they're not going to pay me as much for the bonds. So it's going to be a discount. The stated rate of interest is less than the market rate of interest. So that is identifying whether something would be selling at a premium or discount and understanding this logic behind it and knowing that the price is driven by the relative size of the market rate of interest to the rate of interest stated in your bonds. Okay, so now 13 here says determining the amounts of bonds, premiums, and discounts. So for each of the following situations, calculate the amount of the premium or discount. Now in the lecture I told you, and in the chapter that I told you, that bonds are technically priced by the present value of the face amount of the bonds at the market's rate of interest and the present view of the stream of annuity interest payments at the market's interest rate. So that's going to yield a number that's either equal to 100 and they'll sell at par, or it's going to be greater, 102, 110, or it's going to be less, 96, 98. And so we can tell by looking at that percentage whether it's going to be sell at a premium or a discount. Now the only way we get that percentage is to be able to price the bonds. So we do have to know how to price the bonds. the world won't go around giving us these percentages, but they may, and when we see them, we want to know how to use them. So they issued $120,000 6% bonds at 101. So 101 is a premium because it's greater than 100. And so I would take 120,000 and I would multiply it by that 1% over the face value, and the premium would be $1,200. Remember, the premium is a valuation liability. It runs contrary to it's in addition to the liability, so this will be increase the book value of the liability will be higher than the face value. Riley issued $80,000 of 10% of 10-year 8% bonds at 98. So 98 is less than 100, so it's going to be a 2% discount. So it's going to be $80,000 times 2%, so the discount in this case will be $1,600. It's a contra liability, runs contrary to the normal liabilities, and carries a debit balance and will reduce the liability down to its book value. Rays issued $200,000 of 15-year 9% at 102.25. So it's going to be a premium because it's over 100%. It's going to be 2.25% higher. So we're going to multiply 200,000 times 2.25, and the premium will be $4,500. Now then, Bow Company issued $400,000 of 20-year 8% bonds at 99.75. So it's less than 100%, and it's 0.25% less than 100%. So it's going to be 400,000 times 0.25%. Now that's even smaller. So 0.25%, you're going to have those two zeros in front of the the decimal point. So now it will be $1,000 discount, but it will be a discount. So we can look at these percentages. Now we know, again, the percentages come from pricing the bonds, but when they're disclosed this way, and in places like the Wall Street Journal or financial blogs, these will be stated as percentages with the understanding that people know where these come from. We were only asked in this problem to value the premium or the discount, not the face value of the bonds. Remember, the face value of the bonds is always the face value of the bonds, and they're always in $1,000 increments. Okay, now 13. So here's a 14. In exercise 14, it says straight line amortization. So you heard me say straight line is the easiest, and it's what I'm going to let you do in your Excel problem, but I've shown you how to do it with the effective method with a spreadsheet in the classroom, and even the book says straight line is irrational. Nobody would use it, but it's available and it's straightforward. So it's like straight line depreciation. The calculation is the same, so it's very friendly for you to use. Now, Brock Company issued $300,000 face value of bonds on January 1, 2013. The bonds had a 6% stated rate and a 10-year term. The interest is paid in cash annually, beginning December 13. The bond was issued at 98. So the bond was issued at 98, so it's going to have a discount, and it's going to be less than the $100,000. Now, when we turn the page for the rest of 14, it says, using financial statement models like the one shown to demonstrate how, show when the bonds were issued, show when the recognition of the interest expense, including the amortization, and the cash payment of the interest, and the effects on the statement using the pluses and minuses, just like we've done since the chapter 1, I think. maybe chapter 2. Determine the amount of interest reported in the income statement. Determine the carrying value, face value of the bond liability. Determine the amount of interest expense reported in the 2014 income statement, and determine the carrying value of the bond liability. So we have those tasks to do. So as we look at this, the first thing we're going to open it up and look at here is the effect of transactions on financial statements. So we have a balance sheet, an income statement, and a statement of cash flows. In the first transaction here, we're taking in cash and we're taking in a liability. So cash is going up as an asset and liabilities are going up as an asset. There's no other effects on elements of the financial statements, and it's a financing activity and it's going up by the amount of cash that we receive. The next one is that the amortization of the discount right down here. So that's going to be, the liability is going to be going up because it's going to be going from 98% up to 100%. So the liability is going to be going up. Equity is going to be coming down because we're going to have this expense for that amortization of the discount. And then the expenses are going to be going up because we have that amortization of the discount, but there's no effect on financing activity for this amortization of a discount. But then when we come, because we're not paying anything out to that other company, there's no cash flow going out. But then B here is, I'm going to lift that up just in case, B is payment of the interest. So here we have B, the payment of the interest. So cash is going down because we made a payment. Equity is going down because we had interest expense. Expenses are going up because we had interest expense. Net income is going down because we had this expense. And then it's a reduction of operating activities, cash flow from operating activities, less cash because we paid that interest. So this is a simple analysis. They're presented throughout the chapter, but it gives us an idea of, now we've got it in our minds, what is happening here. So let's turn then our attention to how we actually do these. Now, the next one asks us about interest expense in 2013. So the stated interest is $300,000 and it's times 6%. So the stated interest is $18,000 that we have to pay on these bonds. Now this amortization of the bond, we have $6,000 in bonds, discounts, and it's over 10 years, so we're just using this straight line, dividing it by 10, $600 a year. So here we have amortization of the bond discount, $600, right here in this calculation. Maybe I can light it up for you. I think I can there. And so then the total interest expense will be the sum of those two. So here's the sum of those two. So here's the discount as $6,000 altogether. Here's the amortization of that for 1 year. Here's the $600 amortization for year 1. Now then, for the carrying value as of December, we have a carrying value. The bonds are always at the stated value, $300,000. And now we have the carrying value was $6,000. We amortized $600 right up here. So we brought it down by $600. So now the discount is $5,400 and the carrying value is $94,500. It's gone up because it's going to gradually grow and get from that low $294,000, adding $600 to it, and it'll eventually get up to the whole $300,000. This will be fully amortized and it'll be zero. So now the stated rate of interest in 2013 and 14. Well, again, the stated rate of interest is 6% times $300,000 for $18,000. We're now going to do the amortization of the bond, and since we're doing this straight line, it's $600 every year. So the interest expense is $18,600 every year. And so that interest expense stays the same. But let's look at this carrying value. The carrying value is in 2004, the bond is always at $300,000, doesn't ever change. But it's this discount that's changing, and now we have $6,000 minus $600, 2 years, so minus $1,200 altogether to get $4,800. Now the carrying value has gone up again to $295,200, $294,600, $294. So every year it's going to get higher and higher, the carrying value, until it'll be equal to the $300,000. This amortization, this will be fully amortized. The discount will be 0, and the face value will be $300,000. So that's this little problem. Again, for the introductory problems, I try to pick simple ones that you can look at them, think about how they work, see what they mean to you, and how we get new amounts. So how we handle each of these instances. So thank you for following through on this introductory problem with me. Again, if you have any questions, send me an email, come by and see me, come to office hours. If you're in the online class, come by and visit in the day class on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 in room 109, and we would be happy to answer a question. And of course, those of you who are enrolled in that class, you are welcome to come by and come to class and ask questions anytime. Thank you for working this problem with me. Have a good rest of the day.